Okay, and connecting to YouTube. We lie, Daddy. We're live on YouTube, so...
Never that again, Gabe. Never that.
You don't like that?
Nope, didn't like that at all.
I like that as much as I like our intro music.
Oh. Okay, we went weeks without... We have a business coach now. You're supposed to bring your ideas to me in a more constructive manner, Mike.
Maybe I like them both.
Oh, yeah?
I'm just saying they're at the same level. I'm not saying where the level is. You can figure that one on your own.
You know what? Ignorance is bliss.
Oh, boy.
All right, gentlemen. The show, as you know, is your possession.
Yeah, I think we'll take it from Gabe. Gabe's a little weird this morning. Everybody, welcome on back to yet another episode of Glass Half Sports. I am one half of your hosting duties, as always, Nick Huffman, with my faithful co-host, Mike Mensing. Buddy, we are smack dab in the middle of coming off your bachelor party and going into your wedding. It must feel like you are in the middle of a doubleheader. How are you doing?
Doing well. Sleep is limited, but other than that, doing well. Welcome to June, everybody.
Welcome to June.
NBA Finals month.
Correct.
Baseball's actually starting to heat up a little bit. You're starting to see All-Stars emerge in this month.
Yep.
Football, not much, realistically. Some guys on the move, maybe, after the June 1st date here. We'll talk about Dalvin Cook a little later in the show. But
Yep.
June is a pretty good month for sports. Unfortunately, I won't be with you guys next week, as I'll be off celebrating my honeymoon, but I will be back the week after.
The rumor on the street, it says that Mike's replacement for next week is KDWB's E. White as well. So he might be joining the show again with us next week to talk a little bit of sports. Mike, why don't you run them through what we have for them today and where they can find us if they want to help grow this community?
Yeah, as always, guys, we do have a big show for you today, so make sure you tune in. We're going to be talking about Minnesota Sports Roundup, so Vikings, Vision, Twins, and Wolves touch in as well. We're going to talk NBA playoffs. The Heat and Nuggets meet.
Starts tonight?
Yeah, tonight, right? And then our hot corner, a few things to run down, including a possible breakup of two sportscasters like ourselves.
Yeah.
As always, guys, you can find us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, Spotify, YouTube, Twitch, and Patreon.
Nailed it.
We do have a possible new person that might be starting to stream on Twitch for us. MLB The Show storyline is the possible in the works as well. So you'll have to comment in and let us know what you think about that.
For sure. Where do you want to start this week, Mike?
Let's go Vikings first.
Vikings first, yeah. Not a whole lot going on for them. Some odd news on the JJ front, though. We were kind of like, hey, after the holiday weekend, we would hope that he returns in good faith contract negotiations, et cetera, et cetera. JJ not at camp. Kevin O'Connell not saying a whole lot. Quasi radio silence. Time to maybe at least raise the antenna a little bit here, Mike.
I think raise the antenna is the perfect phrasing for a fan. To be completely honest, and to make my opinion clear on the whole thing, I'm split on whether or not I would trade him because his value is so extremely high at this point. You have a quarterback that's 34, about to be 35, with a year left on his contract. That is an unstable position for the next 6 years of a JJ contract. You have different holes that you need to fill. So personally, I don't know if that's necessarily the right move. I'm not arguing against it.
Sure.
Again, I'm split. He's the best receiver that we've seen in the NFL for a very long time.
Correct.
Interesting.
So with that happening,
Interesting.
with my brain itself being split, I'm kind of just like, okay, let's just play this out. Because if he wants to hold out for a big contract, big numbers, all this stuff, and for them to put it on a silver platter for him, trade him.
Yeah, I mean,
if he wants to report and do things right, re-sign him. That's why the way you put it, the way you phrased it with my antenna being up, is dead on. I don't have feelings one way or the other.
Sure.
I'm just listening in.
Yeah, but I think everybody now is paying attention, right? Like, I will say this, the Vikings up to this point have gotten away with this not being a storyline.
Yeah.
Which is impressive because he's the best receiver in the league. You're right. We have all of the makings. We haven't won in the playoffs. Quarterback situation is uncertain. Brand new GM,
your running
head
back
coach.
situation is uncertain.
Injured O-line right now. What does the defense look like? Are you going to be able to? You're going to have to turn over another defensive court. Like, those are all the ingredients that would scream contract problem.
Well, and
public.
possible trade to load up with picks and get younger.
And
they've
buried it so far. So, like, props to the Vikings media team, but I think they're going to start to feel some heat, and especially from the individuals that I think JJ will know he can leverage in Minnesota that want him to stay. So what does that look like? I have no idea. Maybe we'll get a little bit more information.
Was there a quote by KOC that came out that said that he wants to coach Justin Jefferson or something? There was a quote I thought I saw at the beginning or the heading of an article, but I didn't open the article.
Yeah.
It was either Kwesi or KOC that basically said that they came here because of JJ.
Yeah, KOC.
KOC. Okay.
Yeah.
So if JJ leaves,
what happens to KOC? Yeah, it puts our whole system in jeopardy a little bit. So keep an eye out on that. We're going to try to get some more information from you guys, for you guys on that topic specifically as we get in touch with Chris Long here in the next couple of weeks. He's got a sick daughter at home, by the way. Thoughts and prayers to her, making sure that she's feeling well, doing his dad thing at home as family always comes first. So no issues on the absence, but we'll get back with him and get some information on it. Other news for the Minnesota Vikings. Obviously, we got Dalvin Cook, who is now past that June 1st designation, which makes it very advantageous for us to trade him at this point. Do you think we're going to be able to find a suitor? And if so, who do you think they are?
It really depends on if there's more than one team interested, right?
Sure.
Everybody knows that we're trying to unload him, so his value is already going to be lower. If the Bills are interested, but there's no other interest, they can wait it out until we release him.
Sure.
If it's Bills and
Dolphins,
one of them might trade for him to make sure that he's not a free agent and he can sign elsewhere.
And you might actually be able to, especially since they are in the same division,
you
may actually be able
to each other a little bit.
Play highest bidder here and get what we didn't think we were going to be able to get back out of a Dalvin Cook trade.
To a point, right? You don't want to bid yourself out of both negotiations.
Right.
But yeah, I would be shocked if Dalvin Cook is a Viking on my birthday, which is the 13th.
Yeah.
Like, he still won't be a Viking by then.
No
way, right? The other big news for Viking fans and Minnesota residents is that U.S. Bank Stadium is paid off 23 years early. That's going to save Minnesota taxpayers $226 million in interest. Yeah, remember that whole thing about, like, if
we need another,
if they need money, they do this? We don't need money here in the state of Minnesota. We have a surplus every year.
No, I get that, but were we not just doing a story on U.S. Bank Stadium like a couple weeks ago that it needs copious amounts of repairs and updates?
It needs repairs, but they've paid it off now, too. So, like, I mean, there's your $226 million.
Fair enough.
I don't know. I'm fine with it.
Yeah, me too. Like,
one of the nicest stadiums out there.
Absolutely.
And I don't know. We were there in the fall. Did it seem like it needed repairs?
No.
Not at all.
Maybe upgrades.
Where?
Yeah. I don't know. Just
like a cushioned seat instead?
Sure.
Like, okay, sure. Nick wants to sit in a lazy boy.
Yeah, AMC movie theater seating.
With that, the last Vikings news, as we see from our friend of the show, Rick Sosa here, Vikings are going to host joint practices with the Titans and Cardinals in Eagan. Anybody on either one of these rosters that you're excited to see?
I'm interested to see how Cliff Kingsbury's offense is covered by the Vikings defense, with our defensive secondary being the biggest hole. I think that's...
God, show vanilla shit.
I know.
Don't show anything. I hope they burn us.
Fair enough.
You know what I mean? Like,
fair enough.
I don't care at all.
But outside of that, I'm a big Rondell Moore fan. I think he's going to flourish in Arizona,
especially now with D-Hop gone.
Exactly. So I'd be excited to see him. And then Tennessee, who would not be excited to go see Derrick Henry if he's still with the Titans, which it looks like he might be.
Jeffrey Simmons is also just like one of those
monster.
One of like the 3 or 4 nasty 3-techs in the league right now.
Yeah. So there are certain like just physical freaks I would like. Derrick Henry's.
If I can make it, if I had to choose one of the teams, to be honest, I'd probably go see the Cardinals because I'm curious how much bigger I am than Kyler Murray.
A lot
in person.
A lot, actually, Mike. Quite a bit.
No, I know. Yeah. I just want to look down on them and be like, you'll be okay tonight this year. With that pretty much rounds up our Vikings vision for this week.
Sir.
Let us know what you guys think about Dalvin Cook. Where is he going to end up? And if you were to see the Titans or Cardinals in Eagan this fall, who would you go see and why?
Yeah, absolutely. We can move on over to the Minnesota Timberwolves, who continue to seemingly leak out their off-season plans. We've kind of covered the cat going somewhere at some point deal. And now there is an announcement there from, obviously through Score North that the Timberwolves are among teams who have expressed interest in the Toronto Raptors point guard / shooting guard Fred VanVleet. Mike, your thoughts on this? I actually think that this is the perfect, retain Mike Conley and then Fred VanVleet is like the one. You know what I mean? I think this is the perfect fit for the pick and roll, pick and pop style things that you can, if you're really going to lean into the Rudy Gobert stuff.
I like it a lot.
Yeah.
To be honest. I think Fred VanVleet brings the ability to orchestrate an offense.
Yes.
But he's also a very deadly shooter from the outside if you get him going.
Yeah.
So, I just look at, Mike Conley or Fred VanVleet. I'd rather have FVV, but.
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely. 19.3 points a game is what we struggled at times to get from D'Lo.
I like the 7.2 assists.
Exactly, but he's a far more consistent 19. Like, with D'Lo, you'd have nights where you'd get 30, but then you'd have nights where you get 5. You know what I mean? Fred VanVleet is 19 across. Let's raise
15,
the floor a little
21,
bit.
17,
24. Exactly. And he's always going to be in the mix. Very heady player. Championship caliber, too. He was on the Raptors team that won the championship not that long ago. Another thing that I would like to see the Wolves surround Anthony Edwards with. He needs to be around guys like that. What would you give up for a guy like Fred VanVleet?
See, and that's the problem. Your cupboards are getting pretty bare, man. That's your biggest trade piece.
Yeah. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's also a rumor out there that, is it OG Anunoby or Pascal Siakam from the Raptors that is also rumored to be on the move?
Siakam.
Could you do a cat and for Siakam and VanVleet?
I don't think I'd want a Siakam, though.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough.
I'd rather just take Fred VanVleet from them, and I would give up. The Raptors are in a weird spot because they are in sell mode. So, what they'd want the most is probably youth and picks.
Yeah.
Which you don't have a whole lot of left over since the Gobert trade.
Yeah.
But how much youth and picks do you need for a guy like Fred VanVleet, too, right? So, maybe. Gosh, I really don't know. Maybe a couple picks and see what they think, but you don't really have much youth on the bench anymore.
You don't.
To give. So, I don't know. Do you have any specific ideas of players that you'd ship out?
I would.
Nickeil Alexander-Walker is the only one that kind of keeps popping up in my head, and I don't want to trade him.
I don't either. Who's the kid? Was it Nickeil Alexander? Oh, was he the one that was hitting the 3-pointers in the playoff series? I would really like to keep him. Obviously McDaniels is a centerpiece on your team now.
He's not going anywhere.
And
all the youth is locked.
Yeah.
And then I have 4 picks over the next 10 years. Do you want any of them? That's basically where you're at.
I
don't know.
I think this would have with that being the case.
Do you do a Torian Prince and a couple picks?
That,
a role player? Someone like that?
That would make sense. A lot of those guys are up for contract this year, though, with the Wolves, so it's going to be interesting on whether or not they're going to return. So I think if this is going to happen, you're probably looking at a cat gets moved, and then something from that package
role player
goes
to Toronto.
Yeah,
I would agree with that.
That's how I would see this materializing.
Cat's got to move first. I agree with that. That's got to be the first domino.
So, but I think this would be a perfect fit for the Wolves. You guys let us know what your thoughts are on it. We would love to hear from you either on Facebook or on YouTube, which you can do live during the show. And we can move on to the Minnesota Twins. First of all, did you enjoy the game?
Yeah, super fun. If they had a center fielder that actually brought his glove out with him, I think we would have lost, but I'm cool with it.
Yeah, George Springer just going to go ahead and assist that thing right up over the wall, which was really cool. Willie Castro had himself a day while we were there, huh? A stolen bag and 2
straight center dingers.
Was pretty freaking cool. But yeah, what are your thoughts on the Twins over the last week? As we've been to a game, but obviously been paying a little bit more attention as baseball heats up here.
Yeah, anytime you beat the Astros, it's fun.
Which we've done twice now this year.
Right, and the fact that, we did it twice in the last 3 days.
Well, series, 2 series we've taken from the Astros.
Louis Varland last night, what was it, 7 innings pitched, scoreless as he exited the ball game. So you have your 24-year-old who was pitching in AAA last year coming up and shutting down the Houston Astros. Pretty encouraging stuff. Taking a series from the Astros is always fun.
Stealing a game from the Blue Jays is impressive when you don't have any of your starters. Like me and Mike were sitting at the ball game talking about their lineup. Like
we
just go
we
top
watched
to
Pablo, but he didn't play very well.
no.
Bo Bichette hit a homer in the first inning.
Yeah, well, I mean, but we were talking about their lineup, like Bo Bichette, and it's Vlad, and it's Springer, and it's Alejandro Kirk, and you know what I mean.
It's a lot of big.
It's
names.
a lot of
Like,
massive names.
You don't realize how big named that whole lineup is until you just start reading it off. But yeah, encouraging baseball, right? We're playing well against good competition.
Yeah.
We're done with that West Coast road trip now. That was supposed to be so difficult. Kind of got us a little bit, but now's the time. We're gonna face some weaker competition here over the next month. Starting it off with a 4-game series against the Guardians.
Mm-hmm.
Weekend set. What do you see happening in that weekend?
I actually think with that being the case, we're going to see a lot out of the youth push. What I will eat some crow on this. Royce Lewis on his return, it's 365 days apart. His return from that ACL injury and the way that he's playing now, it's like which was the way he was playing when he left last year. I think this is a guy. I think this is the guy that you could stick in the lineup and all of a sudden, like, it levels things out. Like, your matchups become better. You're stretching pitchers out for, like, his bat is going to be very important. So is his glove. You know, especially Carlos Correa, plantar fasciitis and things like that. Like, there's other Louis Varland, very young right now. You know what I mean? I'm sure we're going to see Jose Miranda back at some. Like, there's a lot of youth that can really push you through the summer months here if they do what they've shown they're capable of doing. So that could and should show up over the next 2 series, in my opinion.
Yeah. So we're tied now?
We are tied. I got a 2 for last week as Sonny Gray's ERA stays under 2 and Joe Ryan's WHIP stays under 1.01. Barely. Thank you, Joey. Mike wanted to go ahead and bet against himself on his bachelor party, but got to watch the win. So I guess, was it worth it?
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. And then
They're like 1-7 in my last 8 games there, so I'm cool with it.
All right. Well, hey, we got you one when it counted. Predictions for the 2 series. How do you think we should leave this off, especially with the Tampa Bay Rays being an absolute unit, top to bottom this year?
Are we facing McClanahan on this go round?
I'm not sure if they know yet.
They do not know yet.
Okay.
I'm going to say that we win exactly 5 games.
Okay. Is that one of your predictions?
Yes.
Okay.
We
Mike
go
says
5-2. And for my second prediction, let's see. Joe Ryan. Ooh, you know what? I'm going to bet against Joe Ryan.
Oh, really?
I'm going to say Joe Ryan doesn't have a quality start on Sunday, June 4th.
Why the hate for the Joe Ryan Express?
Simply statistical. He's been playing out of his mind. You can have a 20-win season and have a bad couple starts. It's just time.
That's true, but like the guy we've talked about it. The guy is the picture of consistency.
Sometimes you just got to go with the gut.
Oh,
with the gut
Jesus Christ, Michael!
Watch me be right.
And we'll all come in next week and hate you for it. What is wrong with you?
It's not my fault. I can tell the future.
Okay. Well, then you have been misleading me for a long time.
Yeah.
Why are we not farther along if you can predict the future?
I mean, I could have told you this is where we'd be at, but that's all.
Okay, fair enough. All right, so for me, I think I'm going to go with, I think we're going to get 3 saves from Yohan Duran throughout this stretch. Division series, plus a tough matchup, so he'll be at 10 by the time you see him next. And I'm going to say that Royce Lewis leads the team in slugging over the next week.
Have fun calculating that.
Well, they can track it, just last 7 games.
Perfect.
Yeah, it looks like McClanahan and then Eflin. So the guy who's 8-1 and 7-1 will be taking the first 2 games.
Okay.
Sonny Gray's 4-0.
I'm sorry, Tuesday and
And Joe Ryan's got 7 wins.
7-2.
Yeah, we got a 7-game winner. What do you?
Yeah.
And the best ERA guy in baseball.
I No, but McClanahan's unhittable.
It's very true. It's very true. Well, Mike has seen his lead diminish in Twins Talker, and we are seeing this segment do the same. Let's move on over to the NBA playoffs, Michael.
All right. Heat Nuggets. And that is not what is for lunch today. But the NBA Finals matchup sees the 8 seed Miami Heat advance through the Eastern Conference Finals and match up with the number 1 seed from the West, the Denver Nuggets.
All right. Well, before we get to this, I do have one last thing I wanted to ask you on the Boston Celtics.
Oh, okay.
What do you do with that core group? They have lofted Jalen. That graphic did not come through appropriately.
Christ.
I was going to say, well, okay. That's all right. Whatever. Do you want me to do something?
No, you're good.
It is what it is, right?
It is what it is now.
I could take the background out, but I realize I don't have the element. So.
Yep, all good. No, so with the Boston Celtics, they floated Jaylen Brown in multiple trade offers over the last couple of years. Contract is due. Jason Tatum obviously has turned into a turnover machine in the playoffs. Inconsistent. They have a head coach issue. They have a GM front office issue. Would you blow this thing up or begin to piece this out and try to rebuild or salvage something before it goes completely sour?
What I think they need to do is have a discussion with the Buffalo Bills. Because I think both of those teams are supremely talented, but something is missing.
So you want a Boston team to call into New York to get advice?
They're the same team in different leagues. They really are. They're a top 5 team talent-wise, are they not, on paper?
Yeah.
But they can't seem to get over the hump. Both of them.
Well, Kyrie, Durant, and Harden couldn't get over the hump. And what did the Nets do? They pieced it out, and they still managed to be a 6 seed.
And did nothing.
This is nothing.
Well,
winning championships is something.
I think a 6 seed and getting bounced in the first round or going to the Eastern Conference Finals 3 years in a row is very different things.
Both of them have ceilings, and both of them are pre-NBA championships. So if your
ceiling is the Eastern Conference Finals, you are a jump shot away, possibly.
That's the point.
So
it doesn't fall. You are a jump shot away.
To me, it's one piece. It's changing Tatum's role playing in the locker room. It's understanding culture and how morale boosts can affect a team.
They've changed coaches.
Looking into the diet of your players. It's smaller changes. Like, you were 1 game away from the finals. You think you blow it up?
I think you have to. If I'm Jaylen Brown, I don't know if I want to stay either.
Well, I mean, that's one specific instance, and if you lose Jaylen Brown, then that kind of sparks the domino of possibly blowing it up. However, you have an option of re-signing him and offering him a contract.
True.
So, what I would do if I'm sitting in the GM chair of Boston right now,
Brad Stevens.
I'm trying to do exactly what I just did.
Fair enough.
And win Game 7 instead of lose it.
Fair enough. I give you that.
You're right there.
Yeah.
It's not like the Vikings going to the NFC Championship and getting beat 41-0.
Right.
Like, it was freaking close. It went to 7 games. They lost to the 8 seed that shouldn't have even been there.
Yeah, they lost to Michael Jordan's kid.
Basically.
That's going to happen. It's going to happen.
I wouldn't blow it up.
Any more playoff failures, and I'm ripping the eject cord on the Boston Celtics. Any more issues? They're so too talented for not being able to get
how you
a title.
If you're a GM, though, how you become a championship team is by bringing in talent, and they are top 5 in the league in talent. So does the talent not work well together?
Yeah.
Okay, then that's something to evaluate.
That's maybe a rebuild.
There's a piece that you can move that can make it flow better.
Karl Anthony Towns.
I don't think it's a blow up.
Give him Karl Anthony Towns.
All right.
But the NBA Finals, that'll start tonight. Your thoughts on some of the key matchups on this? Obviously, we're going to see a ton of Butler on Murray. You think that's going to slow down Jamal Murray whatsoever?
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't. Not at all.
I mean, you can slow him down. That part of it doesn't matter.
Okay, what part of it matters?
Jokic.
Okay.
Is the best player on the floor.
So we were having a very interesting conversation about this on Saturday with Dev and Blake, and the 3 of us kind of agreed Bam Adebayo's athleticism is something that Nikola Jokic has struggled with in the past, and doesn't see a whole lot. Do you think that that's going to be a problem for Yoke?
Maybe at times, but not as a main theme. Like that, he could. I mean, Bam will have his plays, right? He'll block him a couple times. He'll have a couple steals, but Jokic is the best player on the floor.
Okay.
So Jokic is going to have his 30, his 15 or 17. Butler will have his 50, but the Heat are going to fall short because that's all they'll have. Maybe if the Heat can stay alive through like game 5 or game 6 and Tyler Hero can come back and be something of
Even
his
just
old shelf.
Even just a decoy.
Yeah. Then maybe the Heat have a shot. But I'm going to say Nuggets in 5.
Ooh, okay. Nuggets in 5. I'm actually going to go ahead and take the Heat in 7. And here's why. Since 2012, Eric Spoelstra has been in 6 NBA finals in some capacity.
Okay.
Pat Riley has been in 25% of the NBA's final appearances.
Yep.
I think the matchup that's not getting talked about enough is the fact that Denver doesn't have that kind of championship mentality that they can call on from the top down. That stuff matters in moments like this. Developing a competitive environment and not allowing the media in the moment and different things get too big for your players, and all of those little details that you just talked about that the Celtics can't get right. They have the best GM head coach tandem in the league for this scenario, especially to be underdogs. Do you think that plays a factor?
A factor, yes. It will clearly have some sort of an impact on this series. The discrepancy between these two teams is too wide for it to have a factor that's going to make any sort of a difference. It will have a factor. It will. But no, it won't.
Jimmy Butler has been so effective.
Just wait. When it's 127 to 85 tonight, you can text me and be like, hey, man, I might have been wrong. It's okay.
So
the Nuggets are that, Nick. The Nuggets' third best player is Aaron Gordon.
No, it's Michael Porter Jr.
Okay, then their fourth best player is Aaron. Do you see my point?
Yeah, but they got Cody Martin. And come on, man. Come on, man.
Come on, man is right. If it takes them 6, I'll be shocked.
8 and 7.
All right, with that, we have our last segment of the day, our hot corner segment. We're going to go a little quicker than normal just because that's kind of the segment.
Yeah.
We have 3 things to cover for you.
Yeah, and let's start with the quickest one. Obviously, the premiere of The Ultimate Fighter was last night, Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler. Michael Chandler goes up 1-0 on the series pretty so far. Did you watch any of this? You seen any of the highlights? You paid attention to Conor at all?
I didn't know it started.
Okay.
Now that I do, I might actually go back and rewatch. This might be the actual only Ultimate Fighter season I'll watch, and it's simply because of Conor, right? That's what Conor can do to the sport, and that's why at times the bald-headed guy over there needs to just step out of the way and let these guys just run, because these guys are what draws.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I might tune in. What happened last night? Can you catch me up, or should I just tune in and watch?
I would tune in. You're gonna get a lot of very classic Conor. A lot of very humble American smokespin Michael Chandler. You know what I mean? So you're obviously gonna get the dichotomy of the two from the jump. Gabe, did you pay attention to this?
I just connected who Michael Chandler is.
Yes.
I freaking love Michael Chandler, I think.
He's the guy that always gets knocked out.
But he's always he's also the hardest working guy in the UFC.
Yeah, he's Donald Cerrone.
Okay.
It sucks how much of a moron he is.
Yes, he's an idiot.
Because he's a great guy. By all accounts, it's just it's he's decided I'm just a side of beef and I'm willing to put my body through hell, so that's how I'll make a lot of money.
Number one wrestler in the world at 2 different weight divisions at one point, and I think the guy's got less mat time than anybody in the I think Nick Diaz has more mat time than Michael Chandler.
It is the opposite of Dance with the Girl Who Brought You.
Yeah.
Truly, no, I do this now.
Yeah.
So anyway, but yeah, so the thing that I saw with that I was interested in was when it came out that they were doing this, there was something where Conor pushed his face or something like that.
Yeah.
There was this big. Did that happen on the debut one?
No, I would assume it's about midway through the series, because I remember when they announced that filming had started, and then when those reports had come out, there had been a couple of weeks. So I'm assuming it's going to be at some point here.
Right.
wasn't on the first episode. And then off the back of this, this is a great tie-in. I was listening to something about Conor today, because what do the two coaches do at the end of the Ultimate Fighter? They fight each other.
Yes.
That's how the show works, right? But Conor is still not in the USADA testing pool, and they've got the fight announced that it's going to happen, but not a date put on it, because you're supposed to have 6 months of testing in USADA, and Conor's coming off a leg injury. But there's an interesting little description that leaked out the other day about how Conor and Dana have pretty much gone to USADA and said, hey, you're a $10.4 million expense, but if you delay getting Conor in, you're costing us upwards of $50 million. Pretty much hinting at, when Conor's ready to take his 2 tests, we will write him an exemption, and if USADA tries to fight it, the other side of this that Chael was talking about is how did he word it? I'm grasping for the words here. It's pretty much like he's been with USADA throughout the entire show, and even though his paperwork isn't submitted, USADA never went to Conor and said, hey, we need a test, which you can do.
Right.
That's how Chael Sonnen got it. He wasn't with USADA, but that's how he got suspended. So do you think this leads to maybe a little bit quicker turnaround in seeing Conor fight in the fall versus the winter or the spring of next year, which is...
I think it's better for the sport.
I do too, right? Like, give the man the exemption, let him fight.
Yeah.
Gabe?
Who is it? This is what I was going to ask you guys. Do we care that he's on steroids?
Michael Chandler might.
Yep. Nope. I understand that. But really, because, like, we kind of know what has happened. He's on steroids, on a lot of steroids. He's going to get to clean up a little faster, or he'll be on steroids more recently than what Michael Chandler is.
So
that's like the difference.
Now, have you listened to Chael explain like the leg break and how Conor is doing this, and like everybody thinks he's cheating? He's not.
No, this is just getting healthy, right? Like, as far as
the way that because of the break that he had, the things the doctors prescribe him for that type of, to heal that bone completely, is going to be things that you can't take with USADA. So Conor dropped out of the pool to go, I'm going to get my leg right, and if I feel good enough, I'm coming back.
Yes.
Will he feel good enough once he's off the stuff that's making his leg right?
I think so. That's what
Who knows,
I don't understand,
right?
Steroids enough, and I wish I did, because I am curious how that works, I guess.
Well, and he's already talked. He sat down and did a sit down interview with one of the girls with the UFC media team, talking about how he wants to fight 3 times next year.
Yeah, right.
But
so
yeah,
then he's gonna have to stay.
But then
he's gonna have to stay in that pool.
No way.
How long do you believe he is serviceable as? Like, I believe that he knows he's not a title contender, like, anymore. That's over for him.
Mm-hmm.
Do you believe that? Like, how many more fights can he do it where he's just handpicking? Like, hey, this is a good fight for me. Like,
as long as Red Panty Night still exists, and I'm just gonna go ahead and ask you, how many Rocky movies were there?
I think it's
sure.
I think it's as
that's
long as
the answer to that question.
I think it's as long as he wins. If Michael Chandler beats him, he's done.
I would agree with that.
Oh,
like, let's
really?
be honest.
You think so?
You don't think so? If Michael Chandler knocks his ass out,
yeah.
Listen, I think he's done now. So
that's kind of where I'm at too, and that's. I get that Michael Chandler is a punching bag,
but I will
he's
reserve
a likable punching bag, and man, would it be fun to watch him end Conor.
And I think he does have a very good chance of beating him, just because I think Conor's that washed.
That's what I'm doing.
Here's the thing, though.
His face in his last fight looked fucking scared. He looked Conor.
I didn't see that.
No, I didn't see that either.
But that's very interesting, and I don't doubt it. I think he is washed. It is over. He even physically looks different to a degree that is like he's gotten older. Like, he doesn't look fresh in that, and it's no fault on that, obviously. It's just one of those things. Like,
I would
interesting.
Now, I take in a lot of stuff on him. I would encourage you both to go watch the McGregor Forever documentary that dropped on Netflix.
I actually watched some of it.
I've watched the whole thing.
Yeah.
The one thing that everybody in Conor's camp has said, Conor's coaches have said in the past, like, yes, he gets distracted. He gets in a bad mindset and he loses fights. But when Conor is focused, he is still Conor. And that's the same thing that they're still saying. Not that they would come out and say anything different. I get that.
Yeah.
But we talked about it when this show was announced. what was going to be best for Conor was coaching tough, because he's going to be in the fight game and not flying around the world doing all this crazy shit. And then if you launch a fight off the back of that, you know what more than any other sport, what momentum can do for a fighter. He is one quality win away from reinvesting, because Dana has said it. If he beats Michael, it's a title shot. That's the next fight for him.
Yeah, which is crazy to me, because he's going to lose that title shot even if he beats Chandler.
You don't know that.
Of course I don't know that, but
Bingo.
I'd be willing to bet a lot of money on it.
Bingo. So tune in to watch The Ultimate Fighter. It's going to be a good time. D-Hop's release. Both of us were a little shocked at this. No?
Yeah, it's fucking weird.
It's really weird.
One of the best receivers in the NFL.
Yeah, and you're going to release him and still have to pay him $22 million because of when you released him. And do you think that opens him up to go to a contender knowing he's already been paid for the year, maybe on a lighter salary? I guess is going to be the main question here.
It's the one argument I had for the Vikings going after him.
Right?
But I think, honestly, everything I've been seeing is Buffalo. Which would be so fucking scary.
It would be terrifying. It'd be really hard.
Is that the piece that Buffalo needs?
I don't think so. It needs a run game that isn't Josh Allen.
Well, that might be Dalvin Cook.
That offense should be illegal.
Josh Allen, DeAndre Hopkins, Stephon Diggs, and Dalvin.
Dawson Knox and Alvin's younger brother.
Yeah. That's pretty freaky. Got Davis, too.
Yeah, Gabe Davis. Wild. Is there any other places you think should be making a massive push for him right now?
Dallas was the other team that was listed, but I wouldn't go to Dallas if I was D-Hop.
I have one.
What?
Jacksonville. Trevor Lawrence. They've got a young wide receiving core. He needs a body.
He wants front office stability. And I get that you have Doug Peterson as the HC, but what they've never had was
the cons have been consistent. They just haven't been able to,
losers. But
they haven't been able to get the GM and the head coach right. I think they've got that. And they've got their franchise quarterback. What better time?
They've changed their jerseys more consistently than they've gotten to the playoffs in the last 20 years.
That's not hard to do. So have the Lions. And the Lions have only had one jersey
change.
I
get that. So the Lions have Jared Goff. Are you going to go there?
No.
That's a possible one team in their division. It really is. It realistically is it not?
Yeah, but the Jacksonville Jaguars displayed during the playoffs last year that if they had another weapon, if their offense could be any more effective with Etienne, with Ingram, with Lawrence, they became.
I get it.
That
I would put the Lions and Jaguars at the same level as far as a potential landing spot for D-Hop. They're both on the come up. The Lions defense is probably better than the Jaguars defense.
They're the guaranteed 1 seed this year. The Jaguars. It's their division to lose.
Okay, but that's not a guaranteed 1 seed.
In their division, they're guaranteed a playoff spot.
Sure, but they could get it at 8-9 or 9-8 and be a 4 seed.
I don't know. That division's bad. That division's so bad.
My point exactly. They could win it at 9-8.
Well, you don't believe in the Jaguars at all.
No, it's not that I don't believe in the Jaguars. It's that 6 games of consistent play does not make me believe that you're going to play consistently for an entire season. And if anything, if you realistically, the Lions went 8-2 in their last 10.
Yeah.
So to me, that's a bigger sample size of saying, yeah, you're going to have a good season next year than
the Lions could not have stepped in and done that against the Chiefs.
I think you'd be shocked.
No.
Yeah. You want to look up the Lions last? They went into Lambeau and dominated the Packers.
Aaron Rodgers is not Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is in
Vikings lost in Lambeau weeks before.
Because we're not a good football team.
We finished better than the Lions last year. We were 13-4.
Oh my God, Mike.
I'm not trying to make you mad. I'm just saying
it's just bad logic.
How is it bad logic?
You can look at that team and know it's not just stats. It's not just won 8 games. It's not just he had a brand new head coach.
Sure.
Took him a minute to get in tune with the offense. They got a piece back, and they're getting Calvin Ridley back. Might I add you? So all of the Travis Etienne offensive line, no salary cap issues.
So would you put the Bills as a top contender in the AFC as well?
Yes.
Okay, so the Lions played the Bills, and the Bills beat them on a last-second field goal, late in the year last year.
We flukingly beat the Bills when we shouldn't have.
So the question that sparked this, though, would the Lions have done that against the Chiefs? Yes. Because the result that the Jaguars had against the Chiefs was a loss, and the Lions' result would have been the exact same.
Fair enough. But anyways,
I'm just saying there are to me the Jaguars and Lions are a second tier option for D-Hop. They're not in the top tier. It's
I wouldn't put
Bills, Cowboys, and there's a third team that's out there that's like a playoff contender. I cannot remember.
I would agree with you, Tim.
Yeah,
Getting back to our Celtics
so.
conversation, yes, it is coaching for Boston. 110%.
Yeah.
110%. Last, Michael Mensing, please go
I
back.
don't know what that one is, but I had to put it.
They need a quarterback out there. That's what it is. Yeah, so D-Hop's release, man. This was weird. Is this foreshadowing to JJ?
It made me, when it happened, it did make me wonder, like, okay, we kind of saw it with running backs for a while. Running backs got paid. And then guess what?
Overpriced.
And then people just started getting dropped.
Interesting.
Got something to say, Gabe?
I don't know. I feel like, gosh, who said all this shit 4 weeks ago?
Somebody that told you it, and then you regurgitated it here on the show.
I know.
It's almost like somebody else talking Culpepper versus Kirk. Like 4 weeks later. But
yeah,
that's okay.
I was right about that too.
No. We were talking about Score North, who decided, what a lively debate that we put up on our YouTube channel, and then they decided to have that as a debate less than 3 weeks.
I didn't see that.
Yeah. We tweeted. I literally tweeted at him. I said, "Are we just going to pretend that this isn't a riff on what we did 3 weeks ago?"
Ooh, interesting.
Did I ever tweet you back, by the way?
No, of course they didn't. And I've met them both. I've shook hands with them both. They know who we are.
They're upstairs. They're upstairs in our building. Let's not play with this.
Jesus.
Undisputed.
Wow.
It's going to have a different face on it as NFL Hall of Fame tight end Shannon Sharp has reached a buyout agreement with FS1, and his final appearance on Undisputed is expected to be after the NBA Finals per Sports Report.
Yeah, so Skip Bayless has chewed through yet another professional athlete, dating all the way back to cold pizza, and it has been tenuous on the show, but as I read the reports, I wanted to know where this stemmed from, and then when I finally saw the clip, because I didn't see this when it first happened, so I'm playing catch up a little bit. I was floored, because that was 110% a personal shot. You think that was a personal shot?
It was a personal shot.
Well, let's run it, Gabe. Do we have the audio we can listen to on this?
For 6 straight years on this show that we have been partners at this debate desk, has
we have
tried
Gabe to listen to
Tom
on
Brady
this?
home, said he's washed up,
There we go.
his
Thank you,
arm
Gabe.
is in decline, and he should just go on home. It started the first day of this show in September of 2016, and he has been wrong for 6 straight years, and he's going to be wrong again. I'm standing by what I say.
How convinced are you Tom Brady's going to win the Super Bowl?
Okay, I picked him to win it.
Harmless conversation to start.
Well, put something on it.
Well, what do you mean? I put my pride on it. I put my pride.
What did
you pick? You picked the Rams and the Chargers, okay?
And the only difference is everybody knows the Rams are bad, but they don't want to say Tom Brady is playing just to check the Rams. They're in the terrible division. They're the worst division in football.
Good. Are they going to be in the playoffs? Help me out. I need you to sit still, okay?
That's your argument.
What do you mean that's my argument?
Your argument is they're going to be in the playoffs. Is Tom Brady playing bad?
Yes, he played poorly yesterday. Okay, but you're giving him 100% play. You have no objectivity. It's just straight rage. Hey, wait a minute. This is just straight hate by a guy who's jealous that he's still playing at a high level at 45 when you had to stop at 13-5. That's
what you do. Every time somebody I come up in this question, I did.
You're Baker Mayfield.
I did. You make it seem like I'm the problem. I've been having a hard time. So what? You personal shot at me. Wait a minute.
talking about? Back on.
Can I finish?
That's-
You're willing to take a personal shot at me to say this man is better than me because I say he's playing bad this year?
Well, because you disrespect him. It's just so. It's beneath your
You would
dignity.
disrespect me to support him.
No, well, I'll support him over anybody because he's the greatest player who ever played your game, and it's my fault.
This is the greatest player
to have at it.
To ever play your game is what he said, by the way.
So disrespectful. Like, okay, now me and Mike get into some heated arguments as friends and on this show at times.
Yeah.
That is ridiculous. That, like, I don't know how, and genuinely, and I like Skip. Skip's been around for a long time. He's entrenched in media. He's got a
wrong 98% of the time.
So, but that was my
specifically the quote that started this entire thing,
Exactly.
which was saying that Brady watches more film than NFL head coaches. Skip Bayless knows nothing. There's a reason that his phrasing was he's better than you and he's the best player to ever play your game, because Skip Bayless doesn't know how to tie his fucking shoes even. So the fact that he has any clout to tell a Hall of Famer like Shannon Sharp anything is ridiculous to me.
and they prop him up like he's the king or the grandfather of sports media.
And he doesn't know shit.
No, I mean, listen.
He couldn't set a lineup. He couldn't tell you where the right guard line. Like, he doesn't know dick about sports.
They crucified Jim Rome for this kind of attitude, and Jim Rome
is knowledgeable. He's just an asshole.
My point. But Skip is an asshole without the knowledge.
Yep. 100%.
So how is it that a guy like that gets to just
Because
bogart
shit
the
like
media?
that gets views. That's exactly why.
He's a professional troll.
Jesus.
What do you guys think about like at what point in that argument did it go personal? Like that, or like, where did it really set them off inside?
So I think Shannon Sharp, when he was like, "You're acting like I'm a bum." Now at that point, Skip should be able to look at across the table and go, "Well, you're not a bum." That ends the whole thing, right? But instead, he doubles down and he goes, "Well, he's way better than you." It's like he had the opportunity to deflate the situation, and instead, when the guy sitting across the table from him, who has every right to do so, laid his resume out for him, laid his resume out for the world, and then Skip just stepped on it like it was nothing as a guy who
doesn't have a resume
at all in athletics. That's where, in my opinion, that's where it went too far.
It's so weird to see anyone who never played pro sports to talk to someone who did play it at an all-pro level and go, he was way better than you.
Yes.
Especially quarterback to
tight end.
Like, what? It's so fucking stupid. And, like, to me, that's where it's like, that is just such a over-the-line kind of thing to say. And it's weird that I don't know that I feel that way, but it's like,
It shows an overinflated sense of ego in Skip Bayless is what it does.
Well, actually, on that note, if you'd like to see what really shows his overinflated sense of ego, let me put up Exhibit A here. He married himself. That is his actual wife. I'm like, she looks like you. That has got to be fucking weird. Like, I bet he demands eye contact during sex, too. Just to, like, really knock that home.
I'm never going to be able to unsee that.
Even the fact that he wears like that tight, like it's kind of like an Under Armour shirt, like tight to show his body. You're fucking 75 years old, dude. Hide it. That's when you're supposed to wear like floral patterns and shit just to like decorate your body.
Now, here's the thing. You know what I want off the back of this? Because Shannon Sharp reached a buyout with all of this. I want to know. I want Shannon Sharp to get on like the I Am Athlete podcast now, I want that conversation to be talked about. That one in particular, and what happened after, how the relationship devolved after that.
I'd like to know what was happening when it happened too. Like, I mean, there had to be shit right before the show, went on that. But like they had an argument before, some hostility, whatever, because that thing popped off pretty simple.
Oh, yeah. No, it was...
A Tom Brady argument shouldn't usually be the thing.
No.
No.
Yeah. So, like, I want to hear that. And then what else? You know what else I want to hear? I want to hear the other pro athletes reaction to that. Now, like unlike most shows, they don't do guests.
Yeah.
They don't.
Oh,
I want to know if that was the final nail in the coffin for like the sport, like the rest of retired athletes, active athletes, kids and whatever, to want to associate with a guy like that. That's what I want to know.
I'd like to know.
Money talks is my answer to that.
I'd like to know if people genuinely enjoy watching. Like, okay, for me, I feel like I know what's going on, right? Like, okay,
Yeah.
one of them takes one position, so then the other guy, more often has to take the
Yes.
opposite side, whether he feels that way or not. And it's his shtick, right?
Right.
And it's like there's something about that that just really turns me off, and I'm not that interested in it. Now, I like that one because it actually was a real one. But do you think that sports fans actually like that for real?
No.
Or is it just,
It's super
stoking
fake.
the fire
Well,
so you get some numbers? And,
I mean, a little introspection here. Our show is called Glass Half Sports because, in theory, Nick and I are supposed to disagree, but we're but we're also going to tell our true opinions. And then when we agree, sometimes it's like, holy shit, we agree. You guys should probably agree with that take because if we're agreeing, it's probably the right take.
Well, and we were talking about, me and Mike got a business coach now. We were talking about it like that's point counterpoint. That's what you're talking about, Gabe. That's sitting across the table attempting to be argumentative instead of doing what all sports fans do, which is share a perspective and then back it up and see who wins the argument based on knowledge, facts, like just other
It's
pieces of
supposed to be
information.
objective,
right?
though.
Yeah, exactly. And
To
that
some
does
point.
not happen on a lot of mainstream sports media. That's probably why Pat McAfee got his deal, right? Why? Because he's got a perspective and he's not combative. He just wants to learn and share.
Huh.
He has some things that he cares about, like the Pittsburgh Steelers, right? Like he's going to have some stronger opinions on certain teams. He played for the Colts forever, but you don't have to sit there and be like, oh, you don't like the Colts? You're a fucking asshole.
are you guys familiar
No,
with...
but if you like the Packers, you are. What?
Bingo.
Are you guys familiar with the DeMar Hamilton thing? I guess this was one of their biggest disputes.
DeMar
It said that Skip...
Hamlin?
Like,
DeMar Hamlin.
Skip told him to take down a tweet. I can play the audio on this if you want, but just I can play it right now.
Yeah, run it.
Okay.
Why not?
Wow. Wow.
Oh.
What was
Oh,
the tweet?
Wow, that shit
What was
is
the tweet?
broken. I don't know. I'm going to find it, though, because that's interesting. So that was, I mean, totally...
to go as far as like, hey, FS1 asked you to give explanation for your tweet. Like that's back office. They're a publicly traded company. That's like,
Yeah.
hey, there's a CEO somewhere that shits gold bricks that needs you to say some stuff on television because it was unacceptable, and you're not doing it. So I'm here to air you out.
So this is the tweet. It says, so from Skip Bayless saying, no doubt the NFL is considering postponing the rest of this game, but how? This late in the season, a game of this magnitude is crucial to the regular season outcome, which suddenly seems irrelevant. So it's like, it's a douchey tweet.
But he's not wrong.
But just to say,
it hurts. It hurts to say it, but
he also tacked on which suddenly seems so irrelevant. It's not.
He did it in a douchey way.
Yeah,
for sure.
But for him, that's not that douchey.
That's the problem.
But again,
right.
like we talked about it when it happened. Everybody going into a football game understands the risk that you're putting yourself in,
100%.
and with billions of dollars going towards these games and towards the outcomes of these games, 20 years later, we're going to look back on this season and two teams are going to have one less game played.
Yeah.
Because a guy got injured who was back the next year.
It's
like, let's put this into perspective.
Sure. No, I'm not disagreeing with you.
Right? They should have finished that game.
Yeah.
As terrible as it sounds.
No.
I get it. I do.
No.
But I've also seen youth football games with an ambulance on the field, on the grass, kids taken away.
Yeah.
And you play youth football games after that. And that's a kid. So, like, I don't know. That's kind of my point. You can disagree with me.
I mean, if you want me to be, like, inappropriate about it, like, there's a lot of money that goes into fantasy that got ruined last year. Like, obviously, like...
Legitimately, though, our league had a huge debacle because of that one game. So
you finished that game. You should have finished that game.
Yeah,
Glad he's okay.
As terrible as Skip Bayless is, he was right in that tweet.
Yeah, that's Shannon.
Mike goes, he's wrong all the time.
I said 98%. I specifically said 98%, and that is one of the 2% right there.
Fair enough.
Well, that was interesting. I mean, I gotta say, I hate how much I want. Like, I'm dying to hear.
Yeah, I want
when Shannon spills the tea.
Yeah.
And that's honestly like why. I don't know. Sorry, you can go ahead after me, but like, I don't like either one of them. So like to me, I'm watching a ship with two people I don't like come down in flames. I'm loving every second of it, and I can't wait for more drama from the dude who is for sure going to spill the tea because he's not a classy gentleman, in my opinion, is Shannon Sharp.
As someone who produces shows, right, and I've done a lot of them, and I've seen a couple of those things where it truly breaks down, where like they start talking about off-screen stuff like on screen like that. And I like conflict kind of. So it's like, but it shocks me how much it makes me uncomfortable. It's like, guys, don't like, so to do that on television with crew and doing all that stuff there, that's pretty fucking heavy. Like,
yeah,
that's big time. And they were just flat out into it.
Yeah. I would disagree with your take that Shannon Sharp isn't a classy guy. I think he has been forced to be painted in a specific light for being on that show. He was NFL players
he's not
love
classy?
him.
But I mean, I think you can be loved and not.
Have you watched any of Club Shay Shay, like the podcast that he does by himself, where he's not combative, where he's not forced into that scenario?
He agreed to it though and did it.
I understand that. There's also a reason now why he's trying to leave. People can change and grow. I watch a lot of content that he does outside of this Undisputed.
I mean, okay, fine, Nick. Let's go back to his playing career. Do you understand the definite? You really want to argue with me on classy Shannon Sharp? He's not classy. He's on the sideline saying, "You better call the president because we killing the Patriots out here." That's not classy.
It's trash talk. Calm down.
That's
now you're being soft.
Okay, that's fine.
Now you got to go personal.
If you want to trash talk, no. If you want to trash talk, that is fine. I'm not against that.
Sure.
But someone who trash talks is also not a classy player.
I would disagree with you.
Okay, that's fine.
I think there's definitely things that happen, like it's like the heat of the battle. It's the same. I look at it the same way UFC. You step into the cage for UFC, anything goes. The objective is to win at all costs. Within the rules at all costs. And unless a ref is going to stand there and flag me for, chatting some guy up on the sideline, it's within the rules. Now you step off the field and you do that, now you're a classless person.
Because that was off the field.
After the game, outside of competition.
Do you think what Conor McGregor said to Poirier after he lost, was that, like, is he classy?
No.
Okay.
There's a line to be drawn.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't think
I would define Shannon Sharp as one of the greatest. Like, he has a big personality and everything. I would never put class next to him, personally.
If you haven't seen any of it, go watch any of his content outside of Undisputed and get back to me.
I watched him too. And
any of his content, I've seen him on shows not Undisputed. And I'm going to agree with what I'm saying. So I'll go watch his specific podcast that he wants to pump his image off. and see what he
because
looks
that's
like
who
on that
he
one.
wants to be. There's no
If
other
you want to be
hands
someone,
in
you
that
be
pot.
someone. Like,
How can you not be classy? Where's glasses?
Put your effing glasses back on.
I'm sorry. That was the remark that I thought was truly like would set almost anyone off.
Oh yeah.
Put my glasses back on like you're my fucking dad or something like I mean for real. That shit would I'm surprised he didn't freak out more on that.
Oh
actually.
yeah. Well, you could tell he said that, and all of a sudden the relationship ended right there.
Yeah.
You could tell by Shannon's next response he had moved on. A classy thing to do because he could have blown up on him. So
Class.
Take classless. Steals money from Minnesota for 10 years and now wants us to vote him into the Hall of Fame. Classless. Get Joe Mauer off my screen. Mike, you want to take this show out, please?
Yeah, guys, thank you for joining us today. If you are a sports fan with sports fan friends, make sure to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Spotify, YouTube, Twitch, and Patreon. You can catch us on local cable here in the Minneapolis, St. Paul, Twin Cities area on MCN 6. You can actually catch that through your Roku app or any device that allows you to stream through MCN 6, the app as well.
Everybody take a second in the comments. Wish Mike a happy and blessed wedding on Saturday. We'll be back with you guys, or I will be back with you guys next Thursday to do this whole thing again with somebody who likes to talk a little trash. Until then, take care, stay safe, have fun.